Hi friends, it's me Ali, your friendly neighborhood Chanel expert. Today we're talking about a new foundation from the brand. This is the new Ultra Le Teint Longwear Touch Foundation. This is a cushioned foundation and that is today's video. But before we go any further, let's take a second to grab our iced coffee or a hot coffee. Let's take a sip and let's get started. All right, let's give some product information, breakdown, all that jazz. Now, this is currently available in Canada, and I'm hoping that by the time that I release this video, it will be available in the US as well. So this is the new Ultra Le Teint Longwear Touch Foundation, not to be confused with the original Ultra Le Teint Fluid Foundation. So I'm certain you've seen this glass bottle here. I have it as well. This is a variation on a pre-existing foundation, but this new one here is a cushion compact. Both are described as Longwear flawless finish foundations. However, this new cushion has hydration more in focus, whereas the liquid foundation has more of a soft matte, soft velvet finish in focus. That's really the main difference that I'm seeing. Now, this one retails at 86 Canadian plus tax, and this is in fact refillable. The refills are a bit cheaper, so the refills are 66 Canadian plus tax. And what else do we have here? So it says it's a Longwear Touch Foundation. It has keywords like hydration and flawless finish. The description. Ultra Le Teint Longwear Touch Foundation is a portable foundation that delivers flawless, luminous matte finish for up to 12 hours. A moisturizing, waterproof, and sweat-proof formula that withstands hot and humid conditions and guarantees a perfect complexion at all times. Now, the reason I'm sort of side-eyeing this is because currently in Montreal, we are having a heat wave. We're having like weather advisories. You know, it's a real deal heat wave, and so I was able to do a wear test in the 42 degree humidex climate. And so I thought to myself, well, this heat wave is a perfect chance to test its sweat proof, humid proof, all that jazz claims, because I was like, okay, I have the perfect conditions right now. What else does it say? It's a fresh and comfortable emulsion that blends instantaneously, I can't with that word, instantly and seamlessly with the skin, offering 8-hour hydration. For the first time, Chanel has combined the flexibility of a mesh screen and the suppleness of a sponge in innovative double layer packaging that delivers the perfect amount of product, allowing for custom coverage. Interesting. For an even complexion, a weightless finish, and it's supposed to be comfort all day long. Now I have the ingredient list right here, so go ahead and pause that if you want to read the ingredients, if you have allergies or sensitivities. It also says here that this product is 9 grams, and just as a reference, let me see if there's information about the refill. So the refill is also 9 grams. So you get 9 grams of product in the cushion, the original, and the refill. You get a little sponge puff to apply. And the original liquid foundation, that one is 30 milliliters. Let's just see a little bit of difference in comparison with the liquid foundation. So the liquid fluid foundation says it pushes the limits of ultra longwear comfort and natural flawless finish. High perfection, it evens out the complexion and helps keep shine under control for a perfect skin with a luminous matte finish. It's also claims to be sweat-proof, a transfer-free formula for flawless coverage up to 24 hours. The compact does not claim to be transfer-free or transfer-resistant. It's really the liquid formula. And from my memory, this one is oil-free. The liquid foundation is oil-free, and it offers like a pretty decent coverage. I would say light to medium, more closer to medium. In my experience, the liquid foundation here is pretty high coverage. As far as Chanel goes, they don't really have like huge, super full coverage, but this one here is pretty nice. And the finish is like, soft, luminous matte. It's not super drying, but it is nice if you have a combination oily skin. This is nice for a little bit of a matte finish. Now let's talk about the shade range here for this new cushion foundation. So this is brand new on the market here in Canada, and there are 7 shades to choose from. It goes up to a B30. As a reference, I go between a B30 and a B40 at the end of summer. And I checked the refills. The refills are the exact same shade range. It's really bad. It's a really abysmal shade range. It's really awful. I don't understand what happened because the original fluid foundation, this one has like 35 shades. Like, it's a very nice, inclusive shade range. It has a lot of variation for basically everyone. So I don't know what happened here. I have no idea. Today I will be wearing the shade B20. This is the sample that I picked up here. And so you can see in the sample, this is where you have the product. When you get the actual compact, it'll be something like this, but bigger. And then here we have the adorable little mini puff here. It basically is big enough to fit on your finger. And if you look at the instructions here, it tells you exactly how to apply it. And they do recommend going in with corrector concealer first, the new foundation, and then a powder over top. So that is what we will do today. And I thought we could go ahead and do a half face, half with the new cushion and half with the original, just to show you, a difference in finish and all that jazz. For the concealer, I'm going into my Sublimage concealer in the shade 32. And I did do a wear test yesterday in the extreme heat and humidity. It's really quite shocking because it's September, it's supposed to be creeping into fall, spooky season, all that jazz. It is like peak summer heat wave. Like, it's so hot. So it was perfect really to go out for my stupid little mental health walk in the crazy heat and do some errands and see how that, wore during the day. So we'll go ahead and do that later. I'm just going to blend this out. Typically, I would do foundation first and then concealer, but I'm going to go ahead and follow the directions here just to make sure that there is no user errors. Is this sponge not the cutest and most ridiculous thing you've ever seen in your entire life? I'm going to go ahead and try to extract some of the product here and use the sponge. Full disclosure, when I did the wear test yesterday, I just used a regular makeup brush. I'm going to just sort of decant the product here. There is quite a bit of product in the sample. I think there was only the 30 available at the counter for a sample. I'm going to go ahead and try to use the sponge now. It's very little, it's not big, but it's basically the same texture as the sponge. So if you try the sample, this is exactly what the sponge would feel like, but just life size instead of Barbie size, basically. Okay. It blends very quickly. There is a little bit of a scent. I'm trying to, hold on. A little bit. It reminds me of the Hydra Beauty skincare line. It smells fresh and like white peach and melon. That's what it reminds me of. Okay, so I'm just going to add a little bit more. It feels like nothing. Like, it doesn't feel liquidy or cold or anything. You have to imagine when you're using this as a sponge as well. Okay, it's blending really quickly. I'm not really seeing any issues, and I'm surprised that the 20 works. Like, I don't know how it looks on camera, but I'm impressed that the 20 matches me in any capacity. I really thought that this would be way too pale for me. It looks a little bit luminous. I think it's covering quite nicely, but it still looks like skin. It doesn't look heavy or cakey. Okay, so that's one half of my face done with this new Cushion Compact Foundation. Let's go ahead and use the liquid version here. I have the shade in 30, So we'll see if there's a really big difference in the 20 and the 30 here. I'll start with a little bit and then I'll add a little bit more. There's still the same scent. There's a tiny difference in the texture. This feels more liquidy, of course, which makes sense. The 30 does look a bit deeper, as it would. It applies really nicely. It's, it's a liquid, so it just sort of blends into the skin. I would say that the liquid foundation covers more. I think it's covering a little bit more. I think it's evening out a tiny bit more. Just, my observation here. I think they both look luminous. I have luminosity here in the center of my face on both sides, around the cheekbones. We'll give it a second for it to dry down. And now here in the sample, it does say explicitly to use the loose powder at the end. So I think we should go ahead and use the loose powder just to give the full effect and, full review. It's been a few minutes here of just the two foundations. I'm trying to see which side looks more luminous. I guess they both look luminous. They both are a little bit more matte around the mouth, but they both have a soft luminous finish. So let's go into a little bit of loose powder. This is the universal loose powder in the shade 30. This will mattify a tiny bit and also cover as well. You can sort of see as I'm dabbing this on the skin, a little bit of that luminosity is gone. It still looks healthy. It's just going to bring the luminosity down a little bit. So if you do have oilier skin, this is definitely a step you do not want to skip. And like, I am 35, I have dry, dehydrated skin, and this is one of my favorite powders because I don't find it drying, I don't find it cakey. It mattifies, it blurs a little bit. It looks really beautiful, but it won't settle into fine lines and look very heavy or cakey. Now, let's add a little bit of blush to this look here. I'm using the new Equinox blush here, number 798. This is the rosy mauve blush here. It looks like a deep purple here in the palette, but I really love it. It's very versatile. So I just swirl my brush in here and then I knock off a little bit on the back of my hand. It's a very buildable blush. It's not necessarily going to be, you can build it up to the palette here, but you can also go in with a lighter hand. Okay, so here is a full face. Now, if you didn't know that I'm wearing two different foundation formulas, would you tell the difference? Now that I'm thinking of it, when I was applying it, the cushion felt very similar to this liquid foundation, but just maybe a little bit more fluid. I think that there is a hair more coverage with the original liquid foundation. I don't know if it's just because I know that, and typically cushions are a little bit more light coverage, but I think there is, I think you can see a little bit more imperfections on this side here with the cushion. I don't think it's necessary to use this with the cushion over top because the texture and the formula feels very similar, And so I wouldn't use both and the cushion on top to finish it. I would just use this with a powder over top or the cushion with a powder over top. I don't think both of them combined is going to give you much of anything, to be honest. I think the overall finish, now that we have a full face, looks very similar. Both look luminous. Both have a soft velvet matte finish. It's just that the original has more coverage. Yeah, I think that's really the big difference. And also, it's going to be a question of the format. Do you like a liquid foundation? Do you prefer a cushion? You know, some people travel a lot and a liquid foundation is kind of a burden because it's heavy, it's glass, but it covers more. So yeah, I think the cushion is nice. I kind of wish it covered a bit more. I think if I had the real cushion, it would be easier to apply because you can see this is not like, this is harder to, you know, blend out. It's so tiny, it's so minuscule. It's very cute and I'm glad it was there, but it's not like my preferred thimble version of a makeup brush, but I like the finish. The full face I think looks really nice here. So let's go ahead and look at the wear test in like, it was so hot, you guys. Like it's still so hot today. It's like 40 something degrees. It's the air feels like soup. Okay, it's revolting. So here I am on my hot girl summer walk outside, sunglasses, sun hat, music, and then I'm back for my walk here. So I'm in natural light, and I think this was, I want to say 5 hours, and this was after going out in like full disgusting heat. I wanted to see if it faded around my forehead where my sun hat was. I think it stayed the same. I definitely was more shiny. And in the wear test, I'm wearing the cushion with the powder over top because that's what they said to do. So I am wearing the powder and there is some shine coming through at the end of the day. However, I noticed that there was no picking up in the smile lines. Sometimes foundation sort of like settles here and then looks cakey and way too mature, and so it didn't settle here, which I really appreciated. So I checked for that. And then this last one here is at the end of the day, so I think this is maybe around like 8 or 9 hours. It stayed about the same. I think the shine, there's more shine on the forehead and a little bit on the cheeks. It didn't, you know, get too out of control. I think from the first check-in to the last one, the shine stayed about the same, so you could repowder if you have really oily skin needs. And it didn't pick up, it didn't bunch up anywhere around the smile lines. And yeah, I think around the nose, it got a little bit red, you know, from just blowing my nose, living life, etc. It stayed pretty nice. It didn't fade, it didn't disappear in the heat. I really thought that it would. Obviously, the cushion is lighter coverage than the liquid foundation, but I think it actually does hold up to the humid and sweat-proof claims. Somehow, shockingly, surprisingly, I don't think it stayed 100%. I think it stayed at about like 80% in the heat, which is a lot because it's like really, really hot. Yeah. So if you have super oily skin, you're going to need to reapply some powder. But other than that, if you can find a shade that fits you, it's another challenge. I'm really curious to see if there's going to be more shades available for the US. I certainly hope so. But yeah, it's a bit bittersweet because it is a great foundation. I do think it's worth it if you can find your shade match in like the 30 and under, which is just like still so mind-boggling. But yeah, I think it's nice. I think it's a nice addition to the original version here. Just a little bit more lightweight and in a cushion. And I do think that this one here is a little bit more hydrating. You feel a little bit more hydration with the formula. It's a bit more fluid. And yeah, I think there is just a bit more hydration on the side. And that's it. Those are my final thoughts on the new, what is it called? It's a very long-winded name, like the Ultra Le Teint Refill Longwear Touch Foundation. Those are my thoughts. Anyway, please feel free to sound off down below and let me know if there are more products that you would like me to test out and review. On that note, that's all I have for you guys for today. Thank you so much for stopping by. Hope you have a beautiful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.